Hello everybody and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi and today I will be playing Arata Satomi +1. We'll get there. Don't worry about it. I'll introduce him in a bit. And with me today is my wonderful co-host and also amazing friend who is a lovely DM, and I love her so very much.
Hi, I am Mira. I will be playing Sammy Satomi today. I was not expecting to be flattered. Hello.
Well,
But yeah, I am going to be playing Sammy Satomi, Arata's brother today. Hello.
hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the gauntlet of FPSs here in this Yeto trip.
Heck yeah. I am very happy. I am very happy to be here.
I think with this FPS getting uploaded, it will be 18 videos on the playlist. There are many.
I have finally staked my claim in the FPSs as like officially, instead of it being into silence related. I do have finger guns.
Finger guns back. I mean, those are on the playlist too.
I mean, yes, but like they're crossover. They're a crossover plot line. I wiggle at you.
Wiggles back. Anyway, Sammy. Most of the investigation that the rest of the group has been doing has been in, Okashima's, material plane. Hang on, there is a honking coming from outside. Never mind, it stopped. Hopefully that didn't catch on recording. Anyway, like a car honking, not I know we're going back into reading a certain webcomic, but it's not like clown honking. Please don't do this to me. Anyway. Anyway, most of the investigation has been on the on Okashima's like material plane, you know, the actual city itself and whatnot, and a lot of the rumors that have been like people have been picking up on and whatnot. However, you, Sammy, and your brother are spirit rogues who have access to a different plane, technically. So essentially, Arata has invited you to come with him, as well as a few other members of the Spirit Rogues, Genie included, to investigate Remembrance in Okashima. And I can't quite remember if Sammy has actually officially been in Remembrance proper.
When we were doing the first Yeto trip with Sammy and Arata, we didn't really focus on the Spirit Rogues side of things. We were focused more on Arata's connections outside of the Paraverse.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they would have, just because the investigation haven't really gotten fully into swing, and I feel like they got promptly distracted by celebrating Arata's adoption.
Yeah, that's one of the things that happened back then. But I also am trying to think back to the Change of Heart game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember if we ever said anything about Remembrance.
I don't think we ever said anything about Remembrance there either. The focus was a lot more on getting into the palace, getting through the palace, and getting the pack out.
Alright, so I'm not going to do this description in character because that's going to be hell on me. But you're essentially getting debriefed on what exactly Remembrance is. And to put it simply, Remembrance is, in the most basic of terms, everyone's palace.
Mm-hmm.
Which is to say, rather than being like formed from a specific person's perception, it is pretty much built on the perceptions of the collective unconscious. Which would explain why there's like such a strong presence here in Okashima, because Okashima is the capital of Yedo, and of how and man, it's crowded. There are so many people here. Arata does tell you that there is a remembrance, or an entry to Remembrance in Toontown, because he's been there. And as I try to figure out how to what he would say, he tells you that Remembrance in Toontown looks a lot different than it does in Okashima. However, you have not been to either.
Yep, Sammy's just kind of like nodding along, but it's very visible he doesn't fully understand this until he's actually gonna see it for his own eyes.
Yeah. So essentially, you're told that like what you're doing today, you're going to be spending the afternoon in Remembrance, trying to just see if there's anything. Ooh, excuse me. Ooh, bubble in my throat. Anyway, you're essentially going to try and see if there's anything that might be weird, but you are also being told up front that Remembrance is already kind of weird. You're pretty much trying to look for anything that just stands out. But not to worry, you are with experienced spirit rogues this time.
Yes, good. I vibrate.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a change of heart mission, but it is a I guess you could say reconnaissance. Which is befitting of rogues, the class.
Yep.
Which you are not.
Yep. But he isn't urgent, so he does get sneaking around.
He does, yeah. You do get sneaking around and stuff. So essentially, where you guys meet up, is at one of the train stations. The train station in Shibusawa, which is one of the busiest areas. And when you enter Remembrance, you do so easily and without anybody noticing, because there are so many people here already. Just a couple of heads disappearing from view probably would not strike too much confusion. Essentially, people have other things to worry about.
Not my business, filter.
Yeah, not my business. Also, the fact that like a group of kids disappear in the Tokyo subway never gets explained or pointed out in Persona 5, so
yep. A very strong not my business filter indeed.
Yeah. Look, we're not questioning this game. Not yet. Anyway. So, yeah, not my circus, not my monkeys, pretty much. Thank you, audience. When you arrive at, in Remembrance, you are still in what looks to be the train station at first, but right off the bat, there is nobody else here.
That kind of sends a chill up Sammy, Prism's spine, because, no people?
Yeah.
That usually speaks ill of, whatever location they're in, usually.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just gonna slide over a little bit to Trickster and just kind of, there's no people here.
Yeah, no, Trickster just reaches over and pats your shoulder. And he says, don't worry, you'll get used to it.
He just kind of just shiver.
Most of the people, are further inside. And to get in there, you kind of have to go down.
Sammy nods.
And there is like a brief moment as you and the Spirit Rogues double check your equipment, make sure that you've got everything. Just as I try to find my words. Holy shit. You are once everybody's like made sure that like you're ready to go and whatnot. And you get your own like little check-ins, like, "Hey, are you doing all right?"
Mm-hmm. He does appreciate that, and he does relax at everyone kind of keeping an eye on him and checking in on him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very, very nice little little friendly check-in, making sure you're doing okay, because you are again new to this, relatively speaking.
He's a baby rogue.
He's a baby rogue. You are taken further into the train station. Usually when you like when you board a train from a station, it's more outdoors, or at least you can see outside.
Mm-hmm.
While you're in Remembrance, you do not see outside. In fact, you see where the like stop is. And when you look down from down while you're standing at the platform. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. You're taken over to the platform, and while you are standing there, you turn your gaze following the train tracks. And Sammy, these things go down into a deep underground, basically. And they just seem to keep going, like tunneling underground.
Sammy's just Prism's just given me just edging away from the edge. Because just, I don't want to fall off that.
Yeah, Arata is once again placing a hand on your shoulder just to make sure you're alright. And he kind of gives you a look over. He's like, "You okay?"
That's that deep. I don't think I really like heights.
Trust me, when you're down there, you really don't notice the height. It is mostly just tunnels and labyrinths. But don't worry, we're with you, and we're going to be keeping you company.
Okay. Yeah, we got this. We got this. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. We're gonna find some information. We're gonna find out whatever the heck's going on, and it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
And Arata kind of just smiles at you, and he gives you like that gentle like shake, you know, like he kind of bumps you.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, we probably won't go all the way down because that's gonna just take a long ass time. But oh, excuse me. I don't know what's going on with me. Excuse me. Hang on. All right, we're good. We're not gonna go all the way down because it's gonna take a long ass time. But we should be able to make it a few ways in, especially with Genie as the cat bus.
Genie bus.
Genie bus time. And he kind of bumps your shoulder again a little bit, and he says, it's gonna get a little crowded though. Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'll be okay.
Alright. He gives you a kind of shrug, and you're given like several agreements from the rest of the rogues, like, yeah, they're gonna keep an eye on you, it's gonna be okay, don't worry about it.
And it just starts you can't see it underneath his mask, but like he kind of grins and his eyes squint a little, and then he kind of turns to Genie and just goes, "Don't drive as bad as the professor, okay?"
Oh, I'm not the one who does the driving. That's Trickster.
Sammy turns to Trickster and goes, "Don't drive as bad as the professor, okay?"
Trickster just has this wide grin, and he says, no promises.
Trickster, I swear, if you crash into something, I am going to shake you until your eyes roll in your sockets.
No, that's a horrible thing to say, Trick. And he says, oh, I'm not gonna slingshot us across the entirety of Remembrance, Sammy. The only thing I'll run into is a shadow if they won't get out of the way.
Sammy is very unimpressed, and he's just... He just has this deadpan expression on his face.
And I think with that, that's the perfect cue as Genie uses an action to wild shape. This is a wild shape technically. And ba-ba-da-dum, Genie bus.
Sammy climbs in.
Yeah, and the rest of the spirit rogues pile in as well, and with Trickster at the wheel, and Navi next to him, doing a bit of like navigation, trying to make sure that they're going in the right space, and everybody else in the back seats. Yeah, this is a little crowded. There is a lot of people in one vehicle.
I like the mental image of Sammy's just kind of squished into one side with like with several of the rogues just like piling in.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah. It's like
packed in like sardines.
Yeah, it's more of a van than a bus, really. So there probably is like enough space to like wiggle, but all the seats are taken. That's like,
yeah, but like rule of funny, you know.
yeah. Um
Like, I imagine there's like a little bit of shoving as everybody's trying to get buckled and everything, and then it settles down, and everyone's actually got space. A
Yeah,
little bit. They can breathe.
yeah,
But initially, it was just all arms and limbs and yelling about, hey, get your hand out of my face!
yeah, pretty much. And there's like a little like bit of yelling about who's sitting next to who and who's sitting at what window, and whatnot. And as you're like squished in there, and Arata, again, there are no seatbelts here, so you're pretty much just sitting. But once everybody is settled, Trickster does a double check over his shoulder to make sure everybody is sitting. And when everybody gives him the go ahead, he's just gonna start driving down into the deep, deep, deep dark.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here you go. It is deep and it is going to be dark. As you guys are traveling down, as I lose my train of thought. As you guys are traveling down, you do notice that these tracks, because you can see them in Genie's headlights, these tracks do kind of just seem to sprawl everywhere. In fact, this Remembrance looks less than like a continuous decline, and more like okay, here's a level or a floor, gotta find the way down next. And there is someone yelling outside.
Pat, pat.
Why are there so many interruptions? Anyway, and there are like lights and stuff and whatnot, but like, again, it is still pretty dim, dimly lit, and as things press on and time passes, the rogues start chatting amongst themselves to kind of just pass the time, and eventually you get handed like a can of soda and some snacks.
He very visibly brightens up at that.
Yeah, it's probably like some kind of like one of those like Japanese like strawberry sodas.
Sammy is very excited.
Yeah.
There's like just a little of the can opening and then guzzle, 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 guzzle. He likes fruity things.
Yeah, and you just hear it. Whoa, slow down there, man. You might you're gonna burp.
Gonna roll a con to see if he'll actually do that or not. Okay, that's 8. So he's probably got a handle on it. Oh wait, I forgot that it's no longer the. I wish they didn't change the commands.
That is a nat 20. You're fine.
That was a net 20. He's just blank, blank. Guzzle.
God, I think Captain takes this as a challenge. Soda drinking contest. God, I didn't open his sheet. What was your con? It was pretty decent. Oh, yeah, it was definitely decent. Okay. Nah, he doesn't beat you. But that was a 14 plus 7. Anyway. You get challenged to a soda drinking contest. And as you guys are drinking, uh, the genie buzz kind of like rumbles a bit, kind of rattles. There we go. And Captain kind of just almost spits out his drink, but he kind of like covers his mouth just in time, and you just hear loud noises of protest. It's like, stop! You're gonna get soda all over the seats!
Sammy just bursts into giggles. And he's just like, Jamie, when you change back, do you just get all your fur get all sticky?
You just hear a loud, ah.
No, seriously though, if someone accidentally spills something, does it get stuck in your fur when you get back?
Yes, it does.
Oof. Yeah, we'll be careful.
You hear Arata say, most of the time, I'm the one who has to give him a bath.
Just a very, kind of just very dry F in the chat.
Yeah, no, you actually hear Navi call out, can we get some Fs for Genie?
Sammy just bursts out laughing.
And like there is just a chorus of F from the rest of the Spirit Rogues. And it is a very, very, very interesting time here in Remembrance. Even though it is a bit spooky, these kids are doing their best to make it seem as normal as possible, especially since this is your first time down here.
Mm-hmm.
And as things are going on, why don't you roll me a perception or investigation?
Okay, his perception is higher, so we're gonna do that. Ooh, he's rolling good today. It's a 22.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. As I do a quick little stretch. Um. Alright. With a 22, you're gonna pick up on quite a few things. The first thing you notice is that, Trickster is right. There are shadows down here in Remembrance. But they are absolutely not like the shadows that you see in palaces. Where they kind of seemed themed around the palace itself. These shadows look a bit more monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if I can find some. I doubt I'll be able to find a good picture of them. Yeah, no, these are not good pictures. I will find a picture later. They are kind of like shambling brutes, broad-shouldered and whatnot. And you have seen in previous palaces that shadows do wear masks. These guys have multiple masks. Yes, on their face, but also like in places that don't kind of make sense. On their shoulders or collarbone, but like never lower than like the bust area. It is a very strange and monstrous looking thing. Also, with a 22, there is wind um in Remembrance. Um kind of. Uh it does definitely sound like air being blown, but with a 22, it sounds less like a breeze and more like indistinct voices.
Indistinct what?
Voices.
Voices. Okay.
Uh and what else? Uh the floors here do seem to go on for a while. Um but also, since you rolled high enough, we can just jump right into it. Uh, this, just a bit weirder, but, the more you continue, the more you realize that the rogues must have noticed this, but don't seem, like, too put off by it. Um, you see, kind of just floating around are these, I guess, bubbles with strange looking flowers in them. Let me see if I can grab a picture. They kind of look like this. If Discord will load. There we go.
Sammy's just giving me his eyes widening, and if he were a cat, he would be doing the silly eyes. Just zeroes in. Ooh, shiny. Very shiny. Ooh, pretty. He wants to hold the pretty.
Yeah, and I think someone, Haru XB, her name is Hatsumi, um, her, her code name, I believe, would be pronounced Volu, or Volus. I don't know French. Uh, so I'm probably going to be butchering that. Never mind. She kind of noticed your interest, and she says, "Oh, you've seen the flowers too.
They're pretty.
Do you think? Do you want to hold them?"
Not.
And Arata, not Arata, Trickster, notices you nodding excitedly at this, and uh, takes the wheel, steers you guys towards the flower. These are big flowers, by the way. They are huge. And drives up so that, like, the side door is, like, right up against it, and it opens. Someone grabs these, but when they grab them, they kind of, like, shrink in size, and you are handed this collection of flowers.
He's just holding it in his gloved hands and just very visibly, oh, shiny flower. Oh, pretty.
Yeah,
Just very enamored with this aspect of the Paraverse.
yeah. I will say, the remembrance here is very dark and very, very urban, so to speak. Lots of buildings and railways and whatnot. So seeing, like, flowers here is strange, especially when they were in a floating bubble and they
Mm-hmm.
were kind of glowing. Uh,
Yep.
so there is that.
His brain is just going, magic flower. Magic flower. Mm. Want for garden. Probably cannot have for garden. Cry. He see pretty flower. He want pretty flower. Want to cultivate pretty flower. Realizes he probably cannot actually cultivate the Fairyverse flower.
Uh, you're given a gentle pat on the shoulder.
He is in love with these flowers. He wishes he could take care of them.
You don't even know what they are.
He doesn't know what they are, but they're pretty.
They are very pretty. Um,
He's a gardener, Your Honor. He sees pretty flower he wants to take home and take care of.
oh, I love that. Anyway, I'm gonna do a quick little roll.
Oh boy.
ASMR, ASMR.
Dice clacky noises.
Oh, yeah, no, that is definitely high enough. Anyway, um, in the distance, Sammy, just as, the side door closes and, Trickster starts driving again, you hear very faintly in the distance is, a loud, car horn. Just honk honk.
Sammy kind of just jumps because he wasn't expecting to hear a car noise. What?
And you
Looks
hear
wildly around, looks at Trickster,
uh,
looks at the roof of the genie bus. Genie, do you have a horn?
that wasn't me. And Trickster looks over his shoulders and he says, "Looks like Josef's here." And there's just uh some murmurings from the rest of the rogues. Apparently, they know who Josef is.
Sammy tilts his head, question marks above, just who's Josef?
Um, and Trickster starts driving again. Um, uh, presumably in the direction of the in the where the car horn noise was coming from. Um, or so you assume. Uh, uh, um, and as he's driving, Tiger kind of turns in your direction. That's the on XP, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
She turns and she says, "Oh, so that's this kid who lives in Remembrance." Oh, hang on.
Sammy's eyes widen. There's a kid who lives here?
Sort of. We're not sure exactly what it is. He's come from, but he usually just stays around here. Um, but he really likes those flowers, so every time we're down here and he's around, we usually get these flowers for him.
Oh. He looks down at the flowers in his lap, gives it a hug.
Trickster, not looking up from the road because that is dangerous. By the way, Trickster does not have a license. But, you don't need a license when there are no, officers down here in Remembrance. Anyway. He says, sometimes Josef will, trade items for those flowers, so if you see something you like, you can probably, give them to him.
Sammy just, oh, shiny for shiny. Nod.
Pretty much. You want to meet him? He's a real sweet
Yeah.
kid.
I want to meet him. I want to meet him.
Alright.
Vibrates excitedly.
And, and yeah, Trickster continues driving. He may or may not have picked up speed a little bit. But he is taking you in the direction of the car horn and whatnot. As I try to find a really quick image. Will that do? I think this will do for now. Okay. Trickster takes the genie bus, and he drives it in the direction of a you're like probably like a few floors down from where you guys started. But he takes you guys down towards a little like divot area. I don't remember what it's called. And it is not it's not a platform, but like it's this little area where like nobody is there. But you do see that there is a car there. It is this blue, what looks to be a Jeep, and boy, in the back seat there are just these piles and like piles of just random junk tied down to it. But attached to the back of it is a set of balloons in the shape of stars.
Sammy's eyes are sparkling.
And the closer you get, the more you realize that there is somebody who is one, very small, and two, digging through this pile of junk in the back of his car. And as you guys approach, as the genie bus approaches, this kid looks up and jumps back down onto the floor and gives the vehicle, your guys' vehicle, a wave in greeting as Trickster brings you all to a stop. And here's an image real quick. That's the car.
Josef, my beloved.
Yeah. And this is what this kid looks like. The side door to the genie car opens, and people, the spirit rogues start filing out. Do you follow them?
Yes. Yes, he does.
Alright. Cool. As you step outside of the vehicle, you are greeted by this frankly tiny child. You're pretty much reminded of how small Anastasia was. But speaking of Anastasia, the first thing you notice right off the bat, this kid's eyes are golden, like Anastasia's. He is wearing what appears to be some sort of rain jacket with that is like silvery and has patterns of stars and moons, and he's wearing matching boots. Around his neck is like aviator goggles. But his hair doesn't look to be hair. In fact, it looks a lot like it could be plastic. Just the way it's just rounded and whatnot. And he gives you all a greeting with a wave, and as Trickster steps out of the bus last, um, you hear this kid say, oh gosh, I don't remember how to do your voice. Hang on. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna go for it. Uh, Mr. Trickster, good job! And he kind of just bounces on his heels as Trickster waves back at him.
Sammy just there's an audible just coo that leaves his voice, leaves his mouth, and it's like a mixture of aw and just a dove's trill because he's just like the cute kid. Ah, baby. This is a baby.
This is very much a baby. Um, Also, now that you're standing outside, you've realized that Josef has a made this little spot in Remembrance a little bit more cozy. There are quite a few boxes that he's laid out, presumably of like more junk. Um, and I need to pull something up. But that's fine. He when you let out a coup, uh Josef looks in your direction and kind of like tilts his head curiously, and he says, "Oh, there is one more of you." And
Sammy just kind of waves a little. Just oh hi.
yeah, and Trickster takes this opportunity to introduce you, and he kind of just wraps an arm around your shoulders, and he says, Josef, this is my brother Prism, and Prism, this is Josef. He's just he's the kid I was we were telling you about.
Sammy, sorry, Prism nods and just smiles and says, "It's nice to meet you, Joseph."
It's nice to meet you too. Good job, Mr. Prism. And he is doing that bouncing again.
Just he just coos again because oh my gosh, that's adorable. That is an adorable catchphrase. He loves it. He is a toon. He does not even blink at a kid using a catchphrase.
Not only that, this is a kid misusing a common term.
Yes, but like he just is like taking it in stride because his brain is like, ah yes, toon kids do that. This must be normal.
Yeah. I do not blame Sammy for making that assumption. Um, um, but as Joseph is kind of looking between the group, oh, I forgot to say this earlier, but the group has probably like gathered their own flowers on their way here. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just you with them. And as Joseph looks around, he's just, did you guys bring flowers? I have some items to trade with. And a few of the rogues do like nod um, at that, and they start to peruse a little bit at the like little boxes of junk. Joseph just kind of lets them wander around and look around at some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's where we're at. How you doing, Sammy? Sorry, not Sammy. Prism.
Prison's basically bouncing on his feet because just cute kid. He gets to give kid cute pretty flowers and can get something cool as well and just he is an excitable puppy. He is an excitable puppy. just bouncing so much.
All
Yeah,
right.
but he does actually go up to Josef and hand him the flower with a beaming smile. I can pick my thing out later, but here.
And he practically beams up at you as he takes the flower and he says, "Thank you, Mr. Prism." And before you even turn away, the flower Josef takes from you, um, kind of just glows, and after a moment, instead of just holding a bouquet of like flowers, there is a glass with some sort of juice in them, and
Blink, blink, blink.
yeah, and you see him hop onto the hood of his little buggy and just starts sipping at it as you are like as he kind of just expects you to look around.
Tilts his head and goes, "What's it taste like?"
Uh, it was a bit of a contemplative sip before he pauses, and he says, "It's very sweet."
Hmm. Sammy's just like, "Ah, it's a tasty drink. Yay!"
And Josef nods and continues to sip at it. Uh,
He kind of bounces on the heels of his feet, kind of just he wants to talk, but he also doesn't want to like interrupt the enjoyment of the drink. And he just kind of unseen worries at the bottom of his lip a little bit. Kind of probably actually bites a little bit of his mask, his cloth mask above his mouth, and just kind of goes, "Have you seen anything weird going on down here, Joseph?"
um, I think, yeah, okay. He kind of, pauses again, and, he, tilts his head, before he takes a moment and says, "Hmm, I haven't really seen anything strange down here, but some things just feel a little different."
Like, how so?
How does he describe this? Um, he says, "You know how Remembrance down here looks pretty spooky most of the time?
Not.
Well, there are some spots here in Remembrance that just feel different. Not really something you notice while you're standing in that spot, but when you step out of it, it just kind of feels like and you see him pause because he's trying to figure out a way to describe this. Um and I think what he ends up saying is like, I think I think the term people on the material plane use is pins and needles."
Sammy kind of frowns a little bit and shivers, kind of like when your limbs fall asleep and it gets all staticky.
And you see Josef do like a little like thoughtful sway um from his seat, and he he gives you a nod.
Sammy makes a face. Ugh, he hates it when that happens. That's concerning.
Mm-hmm. Also, some of the flowers down here are starting to taste a little different too.
Like, how so? Like, is it more bitter?
And he shakes his head and he says, "No, they taste sweeter, but not the good kind of sweet. Like they're too sweet.
Mm, so sweet they almost turn sour?
Sometimes it's
Ugh.
it's like they're so sweet that's all you can taste."
He he's like starting to make a face, just like, oh, so like too good to be true, kind of sweet, like too much of a good thing.
Huh. I guess that's one way to put it.
He is doing a think.
And as you're doing a thing, Josef realizes, because you've never gotten this spiel before, he says, "These flowers are supposed to help me learn more about people on the material plane. So you can tell a lot just about you can tell a lot about reality from these flowers. But the fact that they're changing is a little, I don't know, weird."
That's concerning, actually. If it's affecting the material plane as well as the paraverse, I, he is doing a think. He is just he kind of like puts his kind of holds his chin a little bit in that classic kind of thinking pose, and like he's kind of like he's giving me the urge to pace, so he just kind of starts pacing a little bit in between the in front of the car as he's trying to think,
And
and like
uh,
he is gonna think aloud.
yeah, and like as you're pacing back and forth, Josef is like still sipping on his straw, just like watching you pace back and forth. In fact, his gaze just follows you.
Mm-hmm. And like he just kind of like I am sorry, Joseph just activated his detective mode. I'm realizing
Ah!
as as he just starts to think, and he just kind of turns and thinks and goes, "Okay, so we had one of our friends." Because he's being careful because this is the Paraverse
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't know Azumi's code name. We had a friend released from a place when we didn't expect it, and it was too good to be true. Him coming back at all was too good to be true. And it's why do I feel like this is connected?
Is something going on in the material plane?
Yeah, I there's been cases where things have been happening in Yeto where it's too good to be true, where it's too much of a good thing. It's good without the consequences of that you would expect, especially from like a storyline and place here. It there's no work put behind it.
Hmm. Hang on, there's people talking in the background. Give me a sec.
E
Okay, I think we're pretty good right now. Can you like repeat the last uh couple of sentences you said?
Oh shoot, now I gotta remember that.
What was the general like vibe, I guess?
Basically he was muttering about how it's too much of a good thing without any effort behind it. Like it's not in line with what he's known for a storyline and a place like Yedo. Like it's out of place, out of character. It's wrong, but like it's wrong in a way that's trying to be good,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
is what he's talking about. Because I hold up my boy. He is a little meta aware in the way tunes are.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I don't need to roll for him to kind of connect those kind of vibes,
Mm-hmm.
just because he is a little aware of the meta-ness of certain things happening and it can being weird. This is weird.
Oh, yeah,
Too
no.
sweet. It's too sweet.
It is too sweet, indeed. Um, and, Josef just kind of pauses thoughtfully. And, and he says, where there hasn't been anybody in the Holy Grail's place right now. Not for a long time.
Mm. Arata's told Sammy about the
Yes,
Holy
yes, yes,
Grail,
yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes. He
Okay, just
has.
wanted to double check because I was pretty sure he knew about that. Just wanted to make sure. He does kind of make a worried face and rubs at his chin and goes, "It feels like someone's stepped into the void they left behind, like the Grail left behind. Like I feel like he he's still pacing, and he turns on his heel and goes, it doesn't feel malicious, but it too much good without you can't appreciate the good without the bad. The happy times don't hit as hard, don't aren't as bright without the dark spots. That's you gotta have a little bitter with your sweet to temper it.
And Josef nods almost a little sagely as he says, people are both after all.
You're yeah, you're right. You people are both good and bad. It just depends on how much they let out at a time and how much they squash down. Because everyone has different levels of the same. It's what makes us different. It's you can't take away all of the bad and leave only good because that just leaves everyone flat.
Hmm.
Because, I mean, take the flowers. You say some of them are way too sweet now. It's kind of like all of the balancing umami or salt or bitter has been taken away, right?
And you see him kind of sway again a little thoughtfully. In fact, his little legs start like kicking, dangling a little bit. This is still
Like,
just a cute kid.
correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you actually know what any of those other flavors are. I do you get umami flavor from flowers?
And he kind of shrugs and says, sometimes, but not always.
Nod. But yeah, I just like correct me if I'm wrong if it just feels like the really overly sweet flowers just don't have room for any other flavor, right?
No, that is one way to put it. And,
Yeah, he's just doing a think.
I want to
What's the
see.
implications?
I want to see if my boy picks something up. And for the audience, Josef doesn't have a sheet. He has a stat block, which I really need to fix later on. Um, but he's gonna roll a quick wisdom. Woo! Okay. Did not need to roll that high. If I can type correctly. He takes a very, very long, thoughtful sip from his drink. Um, and, he says, if a lot of things are changing, sorry, as I try to find words, he says, if a lot of things are changing in a way that doesn't make sense, it is entirely possible that somebody is using the Paraverse for that. But I haven't seen anybody do that. Not recently, at least.
When was the last time you saw that?
That was when, there was a mortal-made construct that rose to power some time ago. But the spirit rogues took care of that.
Yeah, Trickster told me about that one.
Out of
I think.
character. Yeah, out of character, that would be. Yes, you were told about this. This was a artificial intelligence that went by Anna.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Strikers content?
strikers. Uh, uh, yeah. Uh, so on and so forth. Um, so you would know about that one.
Mm-hmm. Nod. He nods. He's following along, even though Mira has not gotten to Strikers yet.
Yeah.
We're still working on Royal.
Don't worry about it. Strikers content is not currently not as important as what's going on. Don't worry too much. But Josef tells you that, and he says, "I'm not sure if I would say that one took the Holy Grail's place, but it was a very similar position."
Sammy nods.
And he continues to say, "The Paraverse is in a I suppose you could say, I forgot the word. It's not volatile. I think he says, I'm going to change my words instead. He says, the Paraverse, Remembrance especially, is very flexible because of how tied it is to the collective unconscious. Outside influence from inside is possible, but it is very difficult to control. So, if it is not an entity like the Holy Grail or the man-made construct, it might be something that has been taking its time.
Probably. And it's just deciding to make its move now. Because it's happening with. We know of two big instances that are closer to home that have happened. Three, actually. One less recent, but two really fairly recent ones, actually. I can't help but feel like the spirit rogues are kind of a target because our friend is tied to the spirit rogues. And it feels like targeted help. And I'm trying to figure out what this help wants from us. Because there has to be a catch.
Why does there have to be a catch?
Because stuff like this doesn't happen without a reason. There has to be a reason for why he was brought back to. There has to be a reason. It doesn't make sense for there not to be a catch, even if it's not necessarily a bad catch. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Hmm. And I think Josef kind of tilts his head, and I think what he ends up asking is, what if there is no other shoe? What if this is the other shoe?
He does not like the implications of that. he he it just feels like something's building. It's building up to something.
Hmm. And you see Josef kind of frown thoughtfully and takes another sip at his drink before he realizes that he's emptied it by now.
Oh,
Uh,
the,
Somebody else probably gives him another uh collection of flowers, and he gives them like a small item in exchange. Um, so he gets a new drink instead, and I think after he takes a sip, he says, I think what he ends up saying is, "Do you think this person who's been helping you, do you think they are do you think they are mortal?"
I don't know. All I really know is I know they're powerful. Maybe they're mortal, maybe they're not. I don't know.
Well, there are plenty of mortals who are powerful. That doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
that they're different.
True. The desire to help is good. It's really good. I wish they would talk to us instead of giving us what they think we need. So we can actually talk to each other.
As I do a quick roll.
Ooh.
That was an intelligence check for my boy. Um, and he's not attuned, but he does blink, and he says, "Do you think they might not be able to talk to you?"
Oh. Maybe they can't. I just. How did they know that we needed him back? Him talking in circles around Sumi is very funny for me. Uh, he he has by this point kind of stopped pacing again. I feel like some of the like once Josef was like putting down questions, he actually stopped pacing to kind of do a think.
Yeah.
And he just uh, he he's just very visibly thinking very hard, and he goes, yeah, maybe they can't. I I don't know. We don't know. I'm grasping at straws here because we don't know who's helping. That's one of the reasons why we've been searching is we don't know who this is, where the help is coming from, and why they decided to start helping us. Why us?
Hmm. Maybe the spirit rogues have helped them before.
Maybe that could be it. It could be someone that they helped. Who did? Well, I mean, who didn't know about him before everything, but still, who knows enough about the spirit rogues? Hey, Trickster.
You see Trickster kind of look up from like a crate that he had been digging through, and he looks up at you, and he says, "Yeah."
Who knows about the spirit rogues? Like, not as a group with the public information, but who knows? Who
Um,
knows about us?
I mean, hmm. He kind of just does a shrug. Um,
Because does our recently released friend have a code name? I've been dancing around the topic while
oh,
rambling
yeah.
aloud out here.
I mean,
Um,
he,
it would kind of help for me to actually know his code name if he has one.
yeah, that's Karasu.
Karasu. Okay, cool. who, because whoever is doing the weird coincidental things that are happening in Yedo that have happened to Karasu recently, who knows about the spirit rogues? Because what if it's coming from something or someone close, like not us specifically, because I think we would have already talked about it if it was us specifically that was causing this.
Oh yeah.
But what if it's someone close who knows about us, who knows about the spirit rogues and what we can kind of do, and knows that Karasu was lost for a while. Who knows about that?
Uh, you see Trickster dip his head, and he brings a hand to like kind of like fidget with the fringe of his hair as he thinks, and he says, "Well, I mean, I don't want to name names because that's going to be we're in the Paraverse, so that's going to do probably going to do something. Yeah, but most of the people who
they would have to know that it wasn't just he disappeared.
It would definitely be someone close. I get what you're trying to say.
Just, I think we need to take a closer look at your connections, Trick.
Oh, God. You see him take a sharp intake of breath. And he says, "That's going to be a list."
He kind of gives a wry grin and yeah, I get that mood.
And he
But
says, I can already, like, cross a few names off. Like, Boss.
mm-hmm.
And, Empress's sister. Maybe a few others. But, we'll have to figure that out sometime later.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking to Josef slash I was thinking aloud and we
Oh no, I definitely heard you.
I just we were talking and I light bulb, and as he mentions a light bulb, the light bulb kind of goes ding 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 above his head and just kind of sheepishly rubs the back of his red hair as current because Prism has red hair.
Yeah.
And he looks a little sheepish.
You're wearing your little disguise.
Yep, the little disguise.
And I think Trickster just kind of just nods and he says, "I mean, we're probably on a track for certain. Not to be too on the nose." And he makes a gesture at the train tracks.
Sammy laughs. Prism laughs.
And he says, "I mean, there's a lot of people that the Spirit Rogues helped, but I don't And there's only a small handful of the people whose hearts we've changed know me or like are one of my contact in my web of crime, like the airsoft guy."
Sammy laughs again.
Yeah. And he says, we can probably start with that and see where that takes us.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trail we can go towards. I mean,
Mm-hmm. I mean,
a potential lead.
It's better than what we had earlier, which was practically next to nothing.
I mean, it's just he kind of huffs a little laugh. I mean, it's kind of just deductive reasoning, really. It makes most sense for this kind of help to be coming from someone close. Like, I mean,
It's just a matter of figuring out how close.
yeah. I feel I'm gonna actually roll to see if he would actually say this, because he does have a suspicion. My boy is smart enough, he has a suspicion, but I'm gonna see if he's gonna say it. Plus 1. Are you smart enough? Okay. He kind of trails off and rubs his chin a bit. Hey, Trick?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna be okay if it turns out that it's someone really close? Like, not boss level of close, but someone you trusted? I'm worried.
And you see him pause and kind of frown a little. Before he looks back in your direction and he says, I don't really know. I guess we're just gonna have to cross that bridge when we get to it. If we get to it. But
Yeah. I'll be with you.
Thanks.
Yeah. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Avi, this plot line. Yeah. I am trying so hard not to meta. I am trying so hard.
I've had you so gentle. You're doing great.
Okay, good. Because I am holding Sammy Muse by the throat because I'm like, we don't know this. We don't know this. You just have suspicions, sir. You just have suspicions. You don't know this for sure. So I've just been like, stranglehold on Sammy. Like, don't you make me say something that you wouldn't actually know, you idiot.
The curse of being the woes of being a bearer of the curse. Anyway.
Yep. I just sit here. I just sit here, Avi. I am just sitting here. Because I have gotten to that point in Persona R where I know exactly who is causing all of this stuff, but I can't say shit. Because we haven't got there yet. So I'm just sitting here. I am just sitting here and taking a sip of my soda.
I've had you so gentle. Hang on a sec. I am going to pull up something.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we'll do this off screen. I think that would be easier.
Okay.
You you come off of this conversation actually, and Trickster seems to remember something. And he goes over to Josef, and he's going to reach into his bag and retrieve the two crystals that he got from the past two palaces. And he's going to hand that over to Josef. And Josef looks at these and he says, "Oh, you got some more. Give me just a second." And you see Josef hop off from his seat on the hood of the car and kind of scurry back to the back of it, where all that junk is. And there's like some kind of noise that almost sounds like power tools, comically enough. Before he comes back and he hands Trickster, out of character, these would be the rewards from the palaces. I don't remember if you actually settled on anything, Mira.
I don't think I did, just because I think my brain was so fried after that game. I'll be real.
Yeah,
I
no.
have not. We'll decide what Change of Heart's Palace reward will be off screen.
Yeah.
Slash, if you have an idea and want to just like hand it to me, we can retroactively say that's what it is.
Yeah, no worries. And but the one from Camille's palace was a pair of charm bracelets, and Arata's going to hand one of them to you. Thank you, Fletch, for standing this out. I'm not sure if you're still in the audience.
I do happy flaps.
Yeah.
They have matching. They have a match. They have they're brothers.
They sure are. Gosh. I'll pull up the description. It should be in our DM somewhere. Like the
should.
DM.
It should be in the changing a stubborn child's heart.
Yeah, I'll pull that up later. Anyway.
I've got it if you want me to read it for the recording.
No, that's fine. Mostly because we've been here for
a while.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I think at that point everybody has finished trading with Josef. He's gotten lots of flowers. He is lost in the sauce. I think actually Trickster might be telling him about how things have been in Einquell, and Josef has the wonderful idea of maybe trying to find a way into Einquell's Paraverse. We'll see how well that works for him, but don't worry. He's a weird kid who is not mortal, ? He might be able to find his way. Anyway. But yeah, that's about it with Josef, and Trickster pretty much pulls it in a wrap. He's going to get everybody back on board the Genie bus when Genie turns back. And you guys are gonna drive back up to the top of Remembrance.
Sammy's just vibrating in my head.
There is a lot that you are trying to connect the dots on.
Yep, there's I feel like all the way back up there's just like him with equations floating above his head, just kind of like trying to do the math.
Yeah, and I think now I could do a little closing scene while you guys are away from Josef.
Ooh. Eyes emoji.
Uh you have the group has given Josef a bunch of like different flowers. Um and he's going to try another drink. Um and he takes a sip from it and blinks in surprise. Uh and just moves his mouth away from the straw and kind of just looks into the drink and says, "Huh? This is very salty." And
Oh.
I simply wiggle my eyebrows at you. Um, and as he says that, the camera pans, and we see from the audience sees from the back, the genie bus, driving along, reaching its way, going back up the many, many, many floors of Remembrance. Sammy, there are so many floors here, you're not even sure how far deep down you are.
Mm-hmm.
But as the genie bus zooms off screen, the camera pans down towards the ground of Remembrance, and we, the audience, sees a strange looking gray and blue tendril just start to wrap its way around one of Remembrance's support beams.
Mm. 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 Oh no. Ah. Ah.
And that's where we leave off.
Ah.
And thank you so much, everybody, for listening both now and in the future. And thank you, Mira, for playing this FPS with me.
Thank you for having me. You have given my boy so much food for thought. He is in problem solving mode and going in circles in his brain. Someone help him.
Gosh. The fun part about playing Josef is that he is not a mortal, but he is trying to study mortals. So therefore his way of thinking is very different. Which makes him an interesting soundboard.
He does. Like it just I sit here and hold Sammy's just giving me like
I pat Sammy so gentle.
because like he's basically thinking so hard. I think he's gonna like have to go lay down because like his head is starting to overheat and steam.
Poor Sammy. But
Because like I love him, he is but a himbo detective, Your Honor.
we love him for it. But with that, we are going to bid everybody a good time zone. Bye bye!
Bye.